Alright, good evening. At 6 o'clock, we're gonna call the Tazewell County Board to order. Mr. Acton, please call the roll.
Crawford? Here.
Goddard?
Here.
Graff?
Here.
Hall? Harris?
Here.
Hopkins?
Here.
Jostin?
Here.
Longfellow?
Here.
Mennel?
Here.
Milam? Mingus?
Here.
Nelms? Phillips?
Here.
Frail?
Here.
Richardson?
Here.
Schmidtall?
Here.
Schneider?
Here.
Sin?
Here.
Stahl?
Here.
Stump?
Here.
Woodruff?
Here.
Chairman Grimm? Here. You have quorum. Thank you very much. If we can rise for the invocation and pledge, please. Lord, as we come before you this evening, we would like to thank you for the fact that this week we've had a chance to celebrate the Memorial Day of those who have sacrificed for the opportunity for us to live here free, for the families that have suffered that sacrifice, and we're able to honor them and to take time to remember. As we get ready to come together tonight, we pray for wisdom, we pray for the opportunity to talk to each other and to listen, and we pray for the opportunity to serve others. Thank you for all the blessings in our life. Help us to honor you with all that we have. Be with us and keep us in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item C here, communications from members of the public and county employees. I know I've got actually 4 slips here. We may start off by Mr. Matt Hockman. If you would please just state your address, things like that for the record. Thank you.
Matt Hoffman, 20419 IZ Road, East Peoria. I'm here to discuss Cultivate Power was planning to build a solar facility on Springfield Road and IZ Road. They got a 1-year permit in May or June of 2023, and then they got an extension last year in May or June of 2024. Just a basic question: if they do not begin with any type of construction, or is it still being processed? Can they still do it this year, or they have to get another extension? And it was just a question for the board for giving us the latest information for me, my neighbors, the church, and the mayor of East Peoria was interested in it last year.
I actually don't know that answer myself. Is Jackie here? Mike, you good?
I would be happy to get that information from community development and reach back out to you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Barrett?
Jim Bear, 23785 Augustine Road, Tremont, Illinois, 61568. For my comments tonight, I want to direct attention to the propriety, or rather the impropriety, of the Tazewell County Board voting on whether to issue permits for wind turbine and solar panel construction projects. According to Matt Drake at the May 13th Tazewell County Land Use meeting, my understanding is there is no value in any county board in Illinois voting against these installations, as state law requires the issuance of these permits if the state requirements are met. There are 3 reasons I object to the county board voting on these projects. Number 1, voting is a waste of our board members' time because they're only allowed to vote one way, which is a coarse vote. The second reason, this redirects voters' anger at these projects from the state legislature to the county board members. The county board should not be voting on something over which they have no control and for which county board members will be blamed rather than the state legislature as the true guilty party. Number 3, if there is a county board vote on these projects, a chorus vote, the state legislature can truthfully say there is local support for these projects because county board members voted for it. A matter that the county board should be voting on is how much compensation citizens should receive for enduring the ill side effects of these wind and solar projects. The justification for these payments comes from the 5th Amendment to the Constitution. Quote, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Wind and solar projects are, quote, for public use. And it is indisputable that something is being taken from residents forced to live near these installations, as there are powerful reasons that high numbers of citizens come to county board meetings urging board members to vote no on these installations. A reasonable person might ask, what is being taken from these citizens that have to endure the ill side effects of these installations? The answers to this question are too numerous to list, but the most important one can be found in the words of the Constitution, that all men, quote, all men are created equal, that they're endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. I think it necessary to point to the wisdom of the authors of the Constitution, that they understood and wanted to make known the truth that among the, quote, certain inalienable rights, the pursuit of happiness is an intangible right that all men possess, and that when this is taken by the government for public use, compensation is required. And to drive home the point, wind and solar installations destroy the pursuit of happiness for nearby residents, and they should be compensated for their loss of quality of life. Thank you.
Mr. Rhodes?
Rode out Pekin, rode out Pekin, I've been there 53 years and I can't remember. Anyway, I'm here to talk about my group, which is Tazewell County Stop the CO2 Pipeline. We've done a lot of work with the Springfield politicians to get something done, and I think we're finally turning the corner where we're getting something done. There was a bill that came out that was going to ban all drilling sequestration in, under, or through the Muhammad Aquifer and any of its watersheds that feed it. Well, the watershed part got deleted, but you can't get everything you want. So the bill passed through the Senate and the House, and it's gone to Governor Pritzker's desk for signing, along with the other 265 bills he's got on his desk right now. My understanding is that it was a veto-proof vote. So depending on what he does or doesn't do, it will probably still become law. The only thing that can override it now is what the federal government's doing with the big new beautiful bill, the money that was in there from the previous administration. So my understanding is that a lot of that money's been taken out right now, but it may be added back in, which may affect it. But other than that, it's looking pretty good right now. Thank you.
Sir? Mr. Gershon?
Good evening. My name is Mark Gershon. I am represent Catman Solar LLC on their special use. I'm going to use some just short comments, but first, since the question was raised, we did confirm with both your state's attorney and your county administrator. The actual requirement under your code is that the project be implemented prior to the deadline, and both your assistant state's attorney, Mike Holly, and the county administrator have confirmed that our obtaining and having issued by the county our permits is implementation of the project. They've sent us letters. I actually thought they were part of the packet, but we can obviously get you copies of those if you need. Just quickly, again, Dewey Clearfield, who you probably have met many times, unfortunately could not be here this evening and asked that I provide a quick overview of significant progress on development since the project last came before the board. Given the timing, I'll make this quick, but we've commissioned and detailed civil and electrical plans in conformance with your code. We have submitted for the Tazewell County access permit application and received that permit for access along Springfield Road. Similarly submitted for the stormwater erosion and sediment control permit and received that permit from the county. We have updated and submitted various due diligence documents as part of our building permit application, ranging from the AMA to our engineering plans, importantly the Catman Tazewell decommissioning bond, county board resolution, and the county board resolution approving that bond, and multiple other designations. The goal of our client is to submit funds for and have those permits issued as soon as possible following this meeting. Our application package and the RUA, which obviously is what we're actually before you on tonight, since the land was previously approved, have been reviewed and approved by the Assistant State's Attorney, the County Development Administration, and the County Engineer, and we appreciate the unanimous vote recommendation of approval by the Executive Committee on that RUA. We are in compliance with all local, state, and federal laws and statutes, and have a renewable energy contract we expect to have fully executed in July of 2025. Project will likely commence construction post-harvest this year. I'm available if there are any questions, but we appreciate your time and consideration. And I know someone in the audience said they had questions. I can certainly pass those on if you want to ask me after the meeting. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
If we didn't have any other slips, we are on to our presentation. University of Illinois Extension, Mr. Allen.
Good evening, everyone. Like Brett said, I'm Earl Allen, County Extension Director for U of I Extension, and our Pekin office is at 1505 Valley Vista, Pekin, for the record. It's always a pleasure to come speak with all of you for just a few minutes and report on some of the things we've been doing. I'd like to report face-to-face in the spring and kind of just highlight some things in our annual report that I've handed out to all the county board members. So I'll flip through some pages and talk about some things. All of our staff are committed to serving local people and local communities, and they work hard at that in all the different program areas that we cover. And we do a very diverse, broad breadth of things with Extension. If you turn in, just open the first page here, we've got I got our strategy statement for the unit and some general statistics for the year. And just wanted to highlight two volunteers, Bill and Kathy Baker, on the bottom left corner of page 2, are Master Gardener volunteers for us. They made that page. If you look at these boys on the right at the top, these are where I put my annual comments, and these are 3 Tazewell County 4-H'ers that are doing some hard work and sweating a little bit, but they're smiling as they do it. And so read my comments, and I kind of allude to that in those comments. If you turn to page 4, this past year, part of our SNAP education program, we do chef schools for kids, and we kind of return to the town of Manitou with our chef schools this year, and we'll be doing them again this coming summer. And so we were excited about that after a break. COVID kind of shut that down for a couple years, and then we were finally able to get back in there in 2024. So we were excited about that for Tazewell County. You can flip to page 11, and there's some 4-H pages there, 3 or 4 of those. And the bottom right corner, we highlight the horse clinics that we do. And Jenna Walker is the CERT director, and does a lot of work with her kids, plus other 4-H'ers in workshops for horse clinics, plus is the fair superintendent for our horse show. So she's always a great volunteer for us. If you turn to page 16, this is a pretty exciting thing that's been developing the past 2 years, and it's our local ag programming that we've built back. We were able to get permission finally to hire a couple ag educators. Hired Kevin Brooks 2 years ago for farm management, and then Tara Heath last year as a crops educator. And they've been expanding and doing some really good things in the area of agriculture. When we reorganized 12 years ago, they tried to shift that work just to the campus, and we weren't making the local connections we wanted to, and so now our unit and several others, especially in our region, are building that back up at the local level. We worked with ICC and Pete Fondle over there for a landowners conference, and then got back into the Greater Peoria Farm Show and had speakers from campus as well as our local educators talking there. So that is continuing strong this year as well. Turn a few more pages to page 21, and we highlight partners each year. This year we did one from each county, and in Tazewell County we highlighted Pekin First Church of God, and they work with us with our Master Gardener volunteers, with the community garden, as well as SNAP programming that we do with them, and they're always anxious to help us do things that benefits their efforts, and as well as lets us get some education out there. The last page is our staff pages, and I always encourage people to look at those pages and see if they see anyone they know. In addition to these staff members, we've got over 300 volunteers throughout the unit doing 4-H volunteering, master gardeners, master naturalists, serving on extension council and foundation boards. And we can't do what we do without them extending our reach even further. So if we've got a couple more new staff we hired this spring that don't show up on these pages. There are 3 coordinators. One is Caitlin Lehman from Lewiston, who's our unit SNAP Ed coordinator. Another one is Ainsley Olson from Elmwood, who's one of our horticulture coordinators. And then we hired Rachel Driver from Pekin, and she's housed in the Tazewell office, and she's also a master gardener coordinator for us. So we've been having retirements, got some more retirements coming up this year, and I try and keep those filled. Right now I've got 3 open slots, and in the process of doing those hirings. So that's what I wanted to report on. If there's any questions, I'll take them, or I'll be done. Okay, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Item number 2 is Pekin Township Supervisor, who I do not see here. So we will move on past that one and move on to our item D, communications from elected and appointed county officials. Ms. Clark.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I've been asked to give an overview of the Treasurer's Office, and I will make it short and informative. So, my office, there are 6 of us in the office. It's me, my Chief Deputy Treasurer, Kim Watson, who's sitting back there. I have a Chief Deputy Collector, a bookkeeper, an Accounting Tech 1/mail courier, and an Accounting Tech 2. Our day-to-day operations would include the recording and depositing of county revenue. So we receive state revenue and grants periodically through the month. That's either by check or ACH, and then each department revenue. Each department handles their revenue differently. Some bring it to us daily, some bring it to us weekly, some bring it to us monthly. And so what we do is we record it into our cash management program, Zobrio, if it's not already in there, and then we do the depositing. Once the depositing comes back, we record the banking information in Zobrio, and then we transfer the information from cash management to our accounting program, MIP. After that, we reconcile all the bank statements for the county. So each fund within your budget book has its own bank statement. Some of them have more than one bank statement just based on investment. So currently we have 84 bank statements that we reconcile monthly. We reconcile them to the Zobrio cash management system and then the MIP accounting system. So when we reconcile those, we make sure we separate the duties, and whoever is reconciling the statement in Zobrio passes it off to someone else to reconcile in the accounting program, just to make sure we have segregation of duties and help prevent fraud. I also am responsible for investing the county money. So if a department has funds to invest, I'll discuss that with that department head and see what their expenditures are going to be for the year, if they see any additional revenues coming in that they can invest. And I review the budget book as well as the CIP plan and invest accordingly. Some departments like to have a little bit more of a hand in the investments and kind of give me a dollar figure they're comfortable with, and other departments let me do my thing. The accounts payable and payroll check runs. So the accounts payable check run gets brought to my office from finance, and it's a sheet of paper that tells us the fund and the dollar amount to be paid out of that fund, as well as a count, so we know how many checks we should have. Those checks are printed in my office, and we review those checks, make sure they printed accurately, make sure the count matches the finances account as far as the check number, and then we verify that the check numbers are accurate to our check register, making sure there's no fraudulent checks being printed in the meantime. Payroll's done similar. Payroll prints their own checks, so they print the employee's information on the checks as well as the dollar figure. Then they give us the paperwork to review and the checks, and we print the signatures on the checks. So we're printing 2 signatures on the checks. That would be my signature and John Ackerman's signature. And then we transfer the money from the specific funds to the clearing account to pay the employees. It's the same with the vendor checks as well. We would transfer the money from those 84 bank accounts to the clearing account to pay our vendors. Journal entries. My office enters all the journal entries. So journal entries could be done for various reasons. A department could have paid a bill out of the wrong expense line or put revenue in the wrong expense line. It could be just a typo on the budget. The health department provides us monthly mileage journal entries, so we can break down their mileage into the grants that they're to be paid out of. The budget transfer journal entries that you all approve get entered by my office, and so when they turn in a journal entry to my office, we require supporting documentation with that so we can review it and ask questions if necessary before we post them into the accounting program. County mail. We run the county mail in my office. So the departments down here, downtown, bring us all their county mail at a certain time each day, and we run it through our meter machine. And so you might see some vouchers for meter postage, and that's just us refilling our postage machine so that way we don't run out of money in that meter, so we can't mail out the postage. And typically we give our mail, once it's postmarked, give it to the mailman, or we put it in the mailbox at the front of the McKenzie building. There are some documents like permits or things that need to be scanned in that I will go deliver to the post office myself. And then last but not least, certainly not least, the collection and disbursement of mobile home and real estate taxes. So mobile home tax bills are mailed out at the end of January each year. There's about 1,000 of them, and the due date is in April. And then in April, we mail out about 65,000 real estate tax bills and collect from the end of April through November. With that, there's about $286 million in real estate tax revenue coming in this year. And I am statutorily required to disperse those funds to the 165 taxing districts every 30 days after the first installment due date. With the tax collection process, there's some other state statutes I have to follow, like sending delinquent notices, posting delinquents in the paper, and hosting an annual tax sale. So with all that, there's a ton of other little things that I didn't mention with all those processes, but to save time, I shortened it up. I would take any questions if you have any. All right, let me off the hook.
I think I got it. Can you tell us something about the tax sale?
The tax sale? Yeah, so the tax sale, legally all taxes have to be paid, so that way the money can be dispersed to the taxing districts and they can fulfill their levy or their budgetary requirements. So what happens at tax sale are these registered tax buyers come in. It could be a company, it could be people that just do this for a living. And what they do is they pay the taxes for the homeowner, all the fees and penalties that are due. And what they're doing is they're bidding on interest that they would receive back from the homeowner. That interest goes anywhere from 0 to 9%. And it typically goes to the person with the quickest clicker on the lowest percent of interest. Now this year I am going to change the tax sale process and do a process called RAMS 2. The reason is we get charged $250 per computer per tax buyer. So we have about 25 tax buyers the way we do it currently. So if I do it this way, that means they get their list weekly in October, and then they will come in with a little key fob, and they'll plug it into the computer, and the computer will generate from there the lowest percentage. And if two people are clicking or voted the lowest percentage, they each wanted 1%, then the computer will automatically pick one or the other. So it's just a cost savings, a time savings. So we're going to try it out this year and see how it goes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Before we move on from the communications, I would like to recognize Sue Webster, as this will be her last board meeting. We are not going to be having the in place at the end because we don't have enough information, but she will be leaving us here next week, and so this will be her final time. So thank you, Sue, for all the time that you have spent and work that you've done here. Moving on, may I get a motion to approve the minutes of the April 30th, 2025 county board meeting? Mr. Stahl, seconded by Mr. Hopkins. Any questions regarding these? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we're going to move a couple of these real quick. We're going to, because we will not have an L on this, we're going to move H up. And this is approving the 4-year strategic plan. And then we will be moving M up, which is our executive session. And then we will go back and item F. But item H, may I get a motion to get this on the floor? This is the 4-year strategic plan. Motion by Mr. Mingus, second by Mr. Nelms. All those in favor, signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Having this in, Mr. Art was supposed to be here for a presentation, but he is also delayed as well, and so he will not be here this evening. It's been in the packet. We've gone through the different things. Is there questions or thoughts about this? All right.
I can highlight a few items. Appreciate everyone that was able to participate in the process. That included countywide elected officials, the county board members, and department heads throughout the organization. Through that process, we're able to develop the new vision statement. So that is to be a safe county with exceptional quality of life where individuals and businesses have the opportunity to prosper. So that's supposed to be where we want to be. Then we also updated our mission statement, which is how we want to get there. It is now to provide quality essential services, protect the county and its resources through responsible stewardship while keeping the people first in all decisions. So those are our updated vision and mission statement. We also covered the ideals for the organization. We landed on integrity, efficiency, accountable, teamwork, commitment, creativity, innovation, fiscal responsibility. Then through the process, we had departments each have individual goals that they want to accomplish, and so appreciate all the different departments. I won't go through them since it is a long list in there, but everyone looked at how can they provide their services more efficiently, how to better provide value to the citizens in Tazewell County. So each department has their goals listed. I will scroll down to the county board, countywide goals that were identified. And there were 10 items that were voted on and ranked. So the top items we had were improve, repair, maintain, and modernize the county facilities, invest in our people's salaries, update the budget and agenda management software, construct a new courthouse, implement a county board member education and mentoring program, update the county website and create online payment opportunities, promote health department services, develop an economic development growth vision strategy, update countywide policies and rules through Rules Committee, and support countywide broadband development. So many of these we already have in the works, especially in the top 5 of them, and there's detailed plans for all of them and how we proceed. The one item I think Jim would mention the most, which is at the end, is make sure that we're following the plan. So we'll now create guidelines on how we'll report and make sure that we're tracking all of these and staying on task with them. So most importantly, we'll have that tracking and making sure we're doing the work to follow through on the items.
Any questions on this? John?
There were just a couple small spelling errors that I didn't know if they'd already caught. One was your name.
Yes, we did. The initial version that went out, there were a few, and then we revised it shortly thereafter. So the final version online now should have the correct information.
And my question then, in the health departments, this may be more for Amy, but under the health department, we talked about going back to pre-pandemic staffing levels, and I didn't know if we were lower or higher than.
That's actually about maintaining consistency in employment for folks. We lost a lot of people during that time. A lot of people turned over rapidly. So it's more about longevity and keeping people consistent. For example, it takes about 2 years to train a sanitarian to go out and do their job. But we're constantly in that phase of retraining and retraining. We're just losing money and resources. So it's more about retention.
Eric?
Getting back to the, is it gonna be like a curriculum, or are we gonna have like scheduled meetings, or is there accountability with I say taskmaster, but the people, the heroes that are leading the charge on this stuff? Are we gonna have roundtables later on? Would that have been explained with Art if he was here?
Well, what we're gonna be doing is there's gonna be updates coming kind of on a regular basis as to what's happening. Every project's got a champion on it and different ways to come up with it. So, like the mentoring, the education part, as Mike's had some of the about Tazewell stuff and things like that, we're working on kind of coming up with a different plan to be able to help everybody get a better understanding. I'd like to have some of the more experienced board members talk about some of the things that they wish they had known earlier on and stuff like that. So, it's gonna be kind of a involved group of what we want to see, and it's gonna depend on the participation of what you guys want. If you wanna share with us and talk to us about how we put this thing forward, then we can do that, but it's something we're gonna start with. Anything else? Mr. Pat?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Delury indicated that each department, and I think he may have, or I just want to clarify, all the departments didn't participate in that, is that correct?
Just about all, I believe maybe only, so to clarify, maybe 1 or 2 that weren't able to participate in the initial roundtables or that didn't submit items.
So that's my, are we doing any effort to include all the departments in our strategic plan?
So one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going around to the different departments and working with them and talking about the different things. So, what they had said, the timeframes they had, what they wanted to do, and how we can work through them. Yes, we're going to be working our way through all the departments and the different things.
Then aren't we being a little preliminary in approving this now before we get all of it done?
I don't think so, because we're working towards overall putting a goal, and this is what you guys are supporting. That if you agree with the different things that are in this packet, the ones that you've spent some time reviewing and doing things like that, so that we can get started on those. 5.